spend a lot of my time working with filmmakers and mixers. I've been involved with Dolby Atmos from the very beginning, from the inception of the idea that there was a need in the marketplace to move sound beyond 5.1. And working with Academy Award-winning mixers like Gary Rydstrom, Gary Rizzo, and then filmmakers like Peter Jackson, Joe Kosinski, have basically given us a lot of great feedback over the past several years on things that they didn't really like about 5.1. That they felt that as an industry we had done so much on image with regards to taking the industry from film, we went into digital, we took it to 2K, then 4K. You've got filmmakers like Peter Jackson, James Cameron that are now pushing with high frame rate. And then also the fact that we introduced 3D back in 2005 with Chicken Little, the Disney company. So a lot of things had gone on, and then the industry was going, what about sound? Surely there has to be something more that we can do. And Dolby took that to heart, and we got a lot of great feedback. We actually surveyed the entire global post-production community to get feedback on things that they would be interested in. And one of those things was the ability to put sound over the audience, which came up very high, that they were very interested in what that could do. But the biggest thing that they came back with was, we want to improve the quality and fidelity and resolution of surrounds, and how can we do that? And that's certainly one of the things that Dolby Atmos does with regards to using either full range surrounds or bass management on existing surrounds to make them sound a lot better. And that way, as a filmmaker, as I'm creating my stories and bringing sounds off the screen, that way I get complete timbre match, and then there's no intelligible difference in the sound, which would then potentially snap it out of the story. I started on my journey, which is now, I don't know, 16, 17 days in, but I started in New Zealand, and we just spent, I spent 5 days out there. Peter Jackson was finishing up The Hobbit Part 2. And certainly for a filmmaker like him, he doesn't want you guys just to be sat there staring at a screen. He wants you to be more involved. He wants you to be emotionally connected with the stories and the journeys that he's bringing to you. He wants you to feel like you're in Middle Earth. And that was really important with the technology and what he was able to do with that. And then that way make you feel more like you're part of the movie. And a lot of people don't realize how emotionally connected we are with the stories that are taking place, and that's being done by sound. You don't realize how much sound is actually manipulating you. You think back on all these classic moments in movies where, you know, either someone dies, or like there's that moment where they finally got through to the end and we have these beautiful orchestral scores that are used to really emphasize these emotional moments. Now with technology like immersive audio and object driven, we can really help make those moments very powerful and very impactful without necessarily raising the overall volume, but really utilizing the sound in very unique ways. So for 5.1, if I take sound off the screen into the room, because of the configuration that we have today, then that sound is going to go right down the side of the auditorium and halfway around the back of you. It creates two zones for the mixer. So a lot of things, they don't actually move off the screen because of the fact that we're delivering across so many speakers, changes the timbre, and the fact that you're limited into two positions. With 7.1, we kind of broke the room into four, so you had like the left wall, we broke the room back in half, and then the wall here. But now if I brought sound in, I could basically pull it right into the middle of the room and not touch behind the audience. But it was still kind of going in too far. And so by extending the speakers further forward now, the director can actually extend things off the screen. So like in the original Hobbit, we had things in Bilbo's house where Bilbo would then go off and answer the door. Well, the door was actually opening here in the first surround speaker, which in 5.1 we could never do, because now that door would be opening all the way in there, and it would snap you out of the reality of the movie. So now being able to create these spatial environments, we can now make movies far more compelling. And as Tom just said, probably one of the best movies that's been out in a long time, great story and amazing sound mix, is Gravity. And I'd like to play a sequence of that from you, and certainly we thank Warner Brothers for the support of using the technology. And in this sequence, what you're going to see is where we basically have George Clooney and Sandra Bullock as they're working on the Hubble telescope. But the interesting use of sound is you have these characters floating in space. but then you're actually hearing a character being introduced to you off to the side. But as the camera starts to rotate, you hear Sandra Bullock coming down the side of the theater, and then just as she appears on screen, that's exactly where her voice is tracking. So it really helps position you and pull you into the story that's taking place. So go ahead and run that first.
We knew that we had to start with the big content. We had to start with the event movies, such as Iron Man and Superman and Gravity. And we knew that would be the first place to go. We weren't quite prepared for how quickly the regions came to us and said, we want to use your tools, we want to set up studios in our region, and we want to work with you. So we've had great success, and this is just 4 of the European films. En Solitaire, which is the first French movie. I won't pronounce the Danish one, but Keeper of Lost Souls, Keeper of Lost Souls is I think the English title, which was great, and that premiered at the Nordisk Imperial Cinema in central Copenhagen, which is currently the largest Dolby Atmos installation in the world, just over 1,000 seats. Premiered with a special remixed version of this film in Dolby Atmos, and then that was distributed to the 4 Danish cinemas at the time to play it in the run. So they actually had a special Dolby Atmos mix of that film, which was great. And you know, it's great to work with Nordisk and the filmmakers on that, and the confidence they had in the technology. Mama came out of some of our Spanish studios, and Lost Place was a German mix. So we're seeing. Yeah, some really, really great movement in that. Like I said earlier, you know, we have studios coming online. Ministry in Denmark is probably the closest studio to you guys now. We have Nordisk's post-production studio in Copenhagen is opening at the beginning of next year. We have 3 studios in the UK. We have the Deluxe studio, which is dedicated to doing post-production dubs. So they do all the foreign versions that we come out in the territories are through a studio in the UK at the moment, while we sort of work to get that into the regions. And we have Pinewood and Shepton Studios in the UK. So, you know, all that side is coming a lot quicker than we imagined, and it's fantastic. And what I want to show you now is some local content in Norway. So, Christian Scanning called me, and he said, I want to do this film I'm working on, Ragnarok. I want to do it in Dolby Atmos. He was very good friends with the guys at Nordisk who came over and mixed Keeper of Lost Causes. So he said, I want to do what they did. I want to come and do a remix. I want to do a version for the Atmos rooms in Norway. And he said, yeah, that's absolutely possible. When does the film open? And he said, in 3 weeks' time. So that was a lot of pressure for us, and we ummed and ahed, and we said, it's absolutely possible, we can't do this. And then he said, oh, but I'm not available until last week. And then we said, okay, we might miss this day. But what he did do is he came over a couple of weeks after and remixed the entire film, actually, and especially focused on a couple of clips, and one of which I'm going to show you, which is the last scene with the dragon. So create that digital artwork, and Spurkinacor, which is a South African cinema chain, again, you know, pointed towards their branding, and they're able to sort of co-brand alongside us. Again, more digital assets. This is actually door wraps. So if you had double doors in your cinema, you're able to split them in half, and that's why the text goes either side, and you're able to walk through these doors into your Dolby Atmos room. And that's just a mock-up on the left of Ocini in Spain, of their door wraps, and what their entrance looked like. And on the right, CityStar in Germany, they had a 6-panel LED display outside the theatre that we were able to mock up graphics for that. Again, you know, they were touting the exclusivity of Dolby Atmos in Berlin at the time. And Kinneveld UCI, again, they wanted to go something different. They have floor stickers, so on tile floors, as you came into the auditorium, it made it clear to everyone walking through as they brought popcorn that this was a Dolby Atmos room. So that's good. So on-screen material, what are we doing once you've got people into your theatre and once they're engaged? And some people will come and seek out Dolby Atmos, others will just come to see a film. They'll come to see Hobbit 2, they'll come in this room and they'll know it's a very good room, and they maybe don't know why. So once they're in here, we can give them trailers. You saw the Unfold trailer. We have other trailers. We have a new trailer in production at the moment, so we want to keep the steady flow of those and really, refresh people and give them a new audio experience every time they come. And what we're going to show you now is Stuart's attempt at learning Norwegian and a bumper, a little sort of small piece that you can play for trailers in other auditorium in your cinema. So in number 2, number 3, number 4, you can say coming in Dolby Atmos into this cinema. It doesn't necessarily have to be in this cinema that you're advertising Dolby Atmos. So when you're ready, we'll run that. Entire consumer chain. They have 84% recognition of Dolby Atmos. To be completely honest, they don't always know what we're doing in each of these technologies. They don't always know what we do, but what we find is that what we score very highly on is that we're seen as a sign of quality. And we're seen as something that's going to increase their
whether it's from the projectors to the 3D, especially to the sound with having the Dolby Atmos, which is still up to 45-minute drives away just so they could come experience Dolby Atmos.
We've noted a very strong uptick in our attendance and box office revenue in the Dolby Atmos theater, our GXL theater. We were only open a few months and we're already seeing the Dolby Atmos titles rise not only to the top of our complex, but to number one in the entire Portland metropolitan area market. So there's a direct correlation to titles we've shown in Dolby Atmos and market performance. No matter what place we're starting at, it's a great investment that pays for itself very quickly.
It's definitely not only bringing new customers, but the loyal customers are coming back as well because they love it so much.
Our premium large screen format now and on our future projects includes Dolby Atmos as a standard feature.
So that's a great endorsement from people who are actually using it. As I said, in the US they tend to have a strong business model for the PLF, the premium large format solution. It's not something that's always adopted in Europe. It's coming to a few countries where they designate a larger, bigger auditorium and have special seating, and that works in some areas and it doesn't work in others. And a lot of people just want to pay a flat price when they come to the cinema. But I think what is encouraging